Paris, Sunday, October 19th, 2025. It's early morning. The city hasn't fully woken up yet. The Seine quietly reflects the pale light of dawn. Everything feels calm, almost peaceful, but right now, in the very heart of Paris, one of the boldest crimes in modern French history is unfolding. At the Louvre, one of the largest museums in the world, a robbery is taking place. In just 7 minutes, 8 priceless works of art vanish. That morning, like any other Sunday, the Louvre opened its doors at 9 a.m. The first visitors were already wandering the galleries when, around 9:30, a small truck with a lifting platform pulled up to the museum's facade, the kind Parisians are used to seeing when furniture is hoisted through apartment windows. Inside were two men wearing reflective vests, helmets, and masks. Just behind them, two others arrived on Yamaha T-Max scooters. To anyone watching, they looked like ordinary workers, part of the ongoing renovation project the Louvre had been running for weeks. No one thought twice about it. The men calmly set up traffic cones, cordoned off the area, and started the lift. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Later, investigators would discover that the truck had been stolen days earlier from the nearby Val d'Oise district. When the lift reached the second floor, the men stopped right outside the Apollo Gallery, one of the museum's most stunning halls. Disguised as maintenance workers, they pulled out an angle grinder. Within minutes, the old window gave way. The alarm blared. 5 museum staff nearby followed protocol, alerting security and starting to evacuate visitors. Guards who rushed to the scene saw 2 men in construction helmets. The intruders threatened them with their tools but didn't harm anyone. It was over in minutes. The robbers shattered 2 glass cases, grabbing 19th century jewels, tiaras, necklaces, brooches glittering with diamonds and emeralds. They moved quickly with precision and coordination. No panic, no hesitation. Moments later, they were back at the window, climbing down the lift, hopping on their scooters, and vanishing into Paris. Before escaping, they tried, unsuccessfully, to set the truck on fire. When police arrived, the vehicle was still parked by the museum's facade, doors open, tools scattered inside, and several items the thieves hadn't managed to take. On the ground, investigators found angle grinders, a blowtorch, a can of gasoline, a blanket, gloves, a walkie-talkie, and a yellow vest. Next to the truck lay a 10th piece of jewelry, the crown of Empress Eugénie, wife of Napoleon III, which must have fallen during the getaway. A few hundred meters away, another jewel was found. Everything suggested the thieves had been rushing. In total, 8 pieces of jewelry from the 19th century were stolen. They had once belonged to Empress Eugénie and other women of the French imperial court. Tiaras, brooches, earrings, necklaces, each crafted by Europe's finest jewelers of the time. Every piece carried a fragment of French history, not just museum artifacts, but symbols of imperial power. Many were considered priceless, adorned with thousands of diamond and rare gemstones. One treasure, however, remained untouched: the Regent diamond, one of France's most famous jewels. It sat in the third display case from the window, and apparently the thieves ran out of time before they could reach it. Meanwhile, news of the robbery spread across the world within minutes. Headlines called it the second Mona Lisa incident, a reference to the 1911 theft of the famous painting. President Emmanuel Macron called it an attack on the cultural heart of the nation. France's Minister of Culture admitted the museum had long-standing security issues. The Louvre was temporarily closed to visitors, and around 60 investigators were assigned to the case. So far, authorities are now focusing on 3 main theories. The first, a commissioned heist, a private collector willing to pay millions for treasures that would never see the public market again. The second, an organized crime group planning to resell the gemstones. Experts note that, unlike paintings, jewelry can be melted down or dismantled, erasing any trace of its origin. And the third theory, money laundering, using a stolen valuable to mask illicit financial flows. What's clear is that the criminals knew exactly what they were doing. They used a stolen truck, timed their operation during real maintenance work, and executed it with military precision. The Louvre itself is more than just a museum. It's practically a city spanning 220,000 square meters, with countless halls, underground corridors, archives, and laboratories. Nearly 9 million people visit each year to see its 38,000 artworks, from Egyptian mummies to Leonardo da Vinci's masterpieces. It's a symbol of France's national pride, and the fact that a crime like this happened there shook not just the institution but the entire country. The Apollo Gallery, the scene of the heist, is one of the most magnificent rooms in the Louvre. It houses what remains of the French crown jewels preserved after the Revolution, including pieces that once belonged to Napoleon I, Empress Josephine, and their successors. But despite its grandeur, it had one major weakness. There were no security cameras. After the robbery, museum employees told journalists they'd been requesting new security systems for years. Union representatives revealed that technical and staffing issues, especially among security teams, had been ignored for far too long. President Macron had previously promised to redesign the Louvre as part of the New Renaissance project, an initiative worth 700 to 800 million euros that included a major security overhaul. But it hadn't yet been carried out. The robbery is now being compared to the theft of the Mona Lisa in 1911, the last time the Louvre experienced a crime of this scale. Back then, an Italian worker named Vincenzo Perugia hid inside the museum overnight, removed the painting from its frame, tucked it under his clothes, and walked out through a staff door. He later claimed he wanted to return the painting to Italy out of national pride. The Mona Lisa was recovered 3 years later in Florence and returned to Paris. Ironically, it was that theft that made the painting world famous. For over a century, it seemed impossible that something like that could ever happen again. But October 2025 proved that even the most guarded institutions remain vulnerable. In the end, 2 of the stolen pieces have since been found, but the fate of the others is still unknown. The investigation continues, though with every passing hour, the chances of recovering the missing jewels grow slimmer. For France, this wasn't just a robbery, it was an assault on their heritage, a theft of history itself. A reminder that even the strongest walls can't always protect what generations hold dear. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.